Greetings, this is July 29th. Do you know the feeling where you're having a nice day, maybe a picnic, and then a shadow comes over everything? Well, that's what July may feel like to many people. So we're going to take a look at NASA's FIRM system and look at the infrared over the last 30 days. This is going to start on June 28th. And then it will progress fairly quickly and show how fires grew and maybe some of their behavior. One of the characteristics to look for is how fires that were separate from each other and remote acted together and almost behaved in the same manner. So this will start on June 29th, and we'll see hotspots pop up around Lytton, Cache Creek, Sparks Lake, and then over at Adams Lake. Here we go. And this is where we are at as of 12:30 a.m. with the MODIS C6 update. It was interesting to see how many fires reacted in tandem. They grew on winds that came in and affected many fires within a region all at once. Let's move forward now and take a look at the infrared from today, but we'll do a comparison with yesterday. Here we're looking at the area around east of Lytton, south of Spence's Bridge. I'm only going to use the VIIRS and the MODIS Terra. It makes the screen a little less confusing, and that kind of covers the full spectrum of the day. That way we don't have multiple satellite systems overlaying on top of each other. Okay, this is the infrared from yesterday. We can see that build up on the southern flank. And there's a large cluster just north of Dry Knock on Highway 1. And this is today. I can see those fire flanks moving away from each other. They're expanding slightly, and I'm also seeing some westward movement. There may be control strategies at work, so please do check for the ground report. Go to BC Wildfire. The link is in the description below. We've moved north to the Tremont Creek fire, and we're looking at infrared from yesterday and now today. There's a lot of intensity on the eastern flank, the southern flank, and slight movement eastward. Everything's pushing to the east. Now we're crossing Highway 1 up to the Sparks Lake fire. We're looking at any movement eastward towards Bonaparte and northwards around Young Lake. This is yesterday and now today. The fires to the northeast of Young Lake have retreated a little bit according to this infrared. There doesn't look like a lot of progression towards Bonaparte. There's one spot at the lower right-hand side of the screen that does have some eastward movement, but most of those spots are concentrating, and there was a slight push northwards. We're now moving northwest across Highway 97. This is just northwest of 70 Mile House, and we're looking at the Flat Lake fire from yesterday and now today. Definitely seeing some westward and southern movement on that southern flank towards the Meadow Lake area. Those hotspots look to be within 2 kilometers of the road out to Meadow Lake. The northern flank seems to be consolidating and concentrating those hotspots. Not any real apparent northward movement there. And the eastern flank looks fairly clear. There's one hotspot I see just north of Cunningham Lake, right at center near the bottom of the screen. Now we're jumping up to Canon Lake. This is the infrared from yesterday on the VIIRS and the Modus C6. And now we're going to today. Definitely more concentration of hotspots in the southeast. It appears to be just on the north side of the Mahood Lake Road. I'm having a little bit of lag in the internet today. I can't zoom in quite as good. And there are several dots that have popped up to the north of Canon Lake, and specifically there's two that popped up just to the south of Lang Lake. Now let's move southeastwards to the White Rock Lake Fire. This is south of Monty Lake, south of Kamloops, and to the southwest of Falkland. We are looking at the infrared from yesterday and now today. It looks like everything's just kind of pushed out from the center. I'm not noticing any progression eastward. It is bunching up there in a few clusters. Northwards, there was slight movement, about the distance of one VIIRS, that's 375 meters. And because this fire has expanded so rapidly, it's crucial to get a ground report. So please check at BC Wildfire in the description below and find out if you're in this area, what your access routes are, and whether or not evacuation alerts and orders are in effect. Let's jump northeastwards to the Shuswap. We can see Sicamous at the bottom of the screen. We see Adams Lake on the left-hand side and the North Shuswap right about center of the screen. This is yesterday and now today. I saw the fires at the north end of these lakes move westwards, whereas the fire down at the bottom of the screen near Sicamous, that moved eastward away from the community. There are a lot of people accessing these systems right now, so it is slow. Fortunately, there's also the Canadian Wildland Fire Information System. The link is in the description below. I'm just going to jump into a couple here in the southern interior of BC. We're looking at Lower Arrow Lake, about center of the screen, and Nelson is to the right of the screen. This is infrared from yesterday and now today. I am not seeing any expansion. I'm just seeing different intensity on either side of these fire perimeters. The one at Nelson on the right-hand side of the screen, that intensity shifted over to the eastern flank. Around Lower Arrow Lakes, just consolidation and concentration of those infrared clusters. We're moving westward to the South Okanagan. We can see Oliver Osoyoos at the bottom of the screen and Okanagan Falls at the top of the screen. This is the infrared from yesterday and now today. A lot less on the Okanagan Falls fire that was moving eastward up the hillside. The Oliver Osoyoos fire is concentrating on that northeast perimeter. There was slight movement to the northeast, maybe the distance of one VIIRS indicator, 375 meters. We're moving further west now. This is to an area close to Manning Park near the East Gate. This is south of Princeton and just north of the Crow's Nest Highway. We're looking at the infrared from yesterday and now today. It did look like there was some controlled infrared signatures yesterday, and I'm not seeing any expansion to the southeast towards the highway. It still seems to have maintained that same distance, and the perimeter doesn't appear to have changed much. It's just kind of moving around in that large forested block. We're now jumping over to Windy. We're going to take a look at the 70 Mile House area. This has experienced some winds coming from the northwest, blowing to the southeast. It's putting some pressure on the folks down at 70 Mile House and in the Chasm area. It has not made moves towards Highway 97. It's actually made moves south and southwestwards towards Meadow Lake and the road heading out there. There are a lot of recreational properties, parks in the area, so it's something we want to watch for. So looking at the wind, It was moving 9 kilometers an hour from the northwest when I last checked before noon. I've had some difficulty getting on the windy site. It looks to be pretty consistent from the northwest until tomorrow evening, that's Friday night, when the winds will start to shift. Gusts look pretty consistent throughout the day. They could reach 30 kilometers an hour mid-afternoon. And looking at a change in direction coming on the weekend as clouds roll in. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday looks like the wind direction is going to come from the southeast. So here we are looking at the infrared just north of Meadow Lake Road. This is the Modus Terra that came in about 12:30 a.m. and we can see what looks like controlled infrared signatures. Then the VIIRS comes in, very similar pattern, the Aqua, and then the NOAA. So if you are west, south, or southeast of these fire zones, you're going to need that ground report. And I'll check back on the infrared and hopefully the internet speed picks up a little bit. It gets frustrating when you know the situation is changing and you want the most timely and relevant information. So please be safe, everyone, and if you need to, rely on your instincts and keep your nose to the breeze.